Hello, welcome to Magical Manifestations. My name is Jenna B. Neece. I'm an author, meditation lover, and chronic anxiety sufferer. I'll be your guide on this journey. My mind often gets too busy, so this podcast aims to remove you from reality and let you drift far away into the mundane yet beautiful lands of magical manifestations. Fly on a dragon. Visit a magic teashop. Befriend a fairy. The options are endless. I'm sure there's something for everyone here. Each episode contains 4 parts. Let me open with a brief introduction, tell you what the story is about, guide you through a few short and calming breaths, and then lead you into a state of calmness. Let yourself come and go as you please. Dozing or napping is fine. We always welcome calmness and sleep here. And when you're ready, I'll always welcome you home. A little note to the listeners before we begin. If you are enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving me a review and subscribing or following on your chosen platform. Maybe recommend it to a friend, coworker, or relative you think might benefit from it. I'd love to have them, and the more support I receive, the more stories I can provide you with. If you're so inclined as to monetarily support my podcast, visit magicalmanifestationspodcast.substack.com. Please stay with us for a brief word from our sponsors for tonight. Charlie Morgan runs an amazing podcast and publication called Storybound. It explores the intersection of neurodivergence, mental illness, and creativity through conversations with other authors. Charlie's down-to-earth personality will draw you in, but her conversations will educate you. Listen and subscribe to Storybound today on Substack at www.becomestorybound.com to join the community. In this story, you take a walk in the rain and find an unoccupied bookstore. Then, you fall into stories and visit magical places. Close your eyes if they are open. Breathe in deeply. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out slowly. 1, 2, 3. Relax your shoulders. Wiggle your toes. Unclench your jaw. Breathe in deeply. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out slowly. 1, 2, 3. Let the mouth sag open, just slightly. Straighten and loosen your spine. Let the pain and stress drain from your body. Now breathe in slowly. Hold just a second. Now all the way out. Let the belly expand. Feel the muscles go pliant. Let yourself completely relax. Feel the air move in through the nostrils and out through the mouth. Just breathe slowly in and out. The Dreamy Bookstore. You decide to take a walk, seeking a little peace and quiet after a busy day. The air is cool, with that subtle crispness that comes before a storm. The streets are lined with small shops and cafes, their windows fogged from the warmth inside. You pass familiar places, your footsteps light on the cobblestone streets, and for a moment, it feels like you're the only person in the world. The sky above grows darker, clouds rolling in slowly, and before long, the first raindrop splashes against your cheek. You pull your jacket tighter, contemplating turning back, but something about the rain feels inviting today, like it holds a secret just waiting to be discovered. The drops fall more quickly now, pattering against the ground in a soothing rhythm. You look around for shelter, spotting a narrow alleyway just ahead. And then you see it. A small, unassuming bookstore nestled between two larger buildings. You've never noticed it before, but it looks warm and inviting, with light spilling out of the windows onto the wet pavement. Curious, you step inside, greeted by the scent of old paper and polished wood. The door closes softly behind you, shutting out the rain. The shop is empty, its silence only broken by the occasional creak of the wooden floorboards under your feet. The walls are lined with shelves upon shelves of books. Some old, their spines cracked and worn. Others newer, their pages still crisp and untouched. A single armchair sits by the window, plush and inviting, as though waiting for a tired traveler to rest. You wander through the aisles, letting your fingers glide across the book's spines, each one promising a different world, a different adventure. One book in particular catches your eye, Winnie the Pooh. The cover is faded, the illustration of Pooh and Piglet still charming in its simplicity. Without thinking, you pull it from the shelf and open it. As you turn the first page, the words begin to blur and shift, like ink spreading in water. The air around you changes. It becomes fresher, crisper, with the earthy scent of the forest filling your lungs. When you look up, you're no longer in the bookstore. Tall trees stretch around you, their leaves rustling softly in the breeze. A dirt path winds through the woods, leading you deeper into the 100-acre wood. Suddenly, you hear a familiar voice. Pooh's voice. You turn, and there he is, standing with his paw to his mouth, looking thoughtfully at a tree stump. "Oh, bother," he says, scratching his head. When he notices you, his eyes widen with delight. "Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Have you come to join us for a little something? Perhaps some honey?" He pats his round belly, clearly pleased at the idea. Before you can respond, Piglet appears, shuffling nervously but smiling shyly at you. "Oh dear, I do hope we're not too late for lunch," he whispers to Pooh. A moment later, Tigger bounds in, his energy contagious as he bounces around you in wide, joyful arcs. Come on, let's go have some fun," Tigger exclaims, his exuberance pulling you along with the group. The rest of the day is filled with laughter, stories, and the simple joys of wandering through the 100-acre wood. You walk with Pooh and his friends, sharing in their adventures. Whether it's a search for honey, helping Eeyore rebuild his house, or bouncing through the trees with Tigger, the woods feel timeless, a place where worries seem distant and forgotten. There's a warmth in the companionship of Pooh and the others, a sense of comfort in the simplicity of their lives. You stay with them for what feels like hours, though time seems to lose its meaning here. But eventually, the world around you begins to shimmer, the trees blurring as the sound of their voices fades. You find yourself standing back in the bookstore, Winnie the Pooh still open in your hands. You take a breath, steadying yourself. The memory of the woods clings to you, like the scent of pine needles and honey still lingering in the air. You set the book back on the shelf only to find yourself drawn to another. Cinderella. The cover is elegant, its silver lettering catching the soft light of the shop. Before you can think, your hands reach for it, curiosity pulling you in once more. As you open the pages, the bookstore fades again. This time, you're in a dimly lit kitchen. The smell of warm bread and simmering broth fills the air, and you hear the gentle crackle of a fire in the hearth. Cinderella is there, kneeling on the stone floor, scrubbing with a worn brush. Her clothes are simple, her hair tied back, but there's a quiet beauty about her, a strength beneath her humble exterior. When she sees you, she doesn't seem surprised, as though she's been expecting you. "Hello," she says softly, pausing in her work. "I suppose you've come to visit. I don't get many guests, but you're most welcome." She smiles, though there's a sadness in her eyes, a longing for a life beyond the kitchen walls. You talk with her for a while, hearing her dreams of the royal ball and her desire for something more, a life where she's not bound by her chores and her cruel stepmother. She speaks with such hope that it's almost contagious, and for a moment you feel her yearning as if it were your own. As she talks, you hear the faint sound of chiming in the distance. The air around you begins to change again, shimmering like the light from the fire as it fades. Cinderella looks at you one last time, a hopeful smile on her face, as she waves goodbye. And then you're back in the bookstore. The sound of rain tapping gently against the windows is all that remains. You take a deep breath, feeling the weight of the magic still lingering in the air. You glance at the shelves, wondering what world might await you next. Your eyes land on Peter Pan. You can't resist. The second you open the cover, you're lifted off your feet, soaring through the air. Below, the streets of London stretch out, tiny lights flickering in the night. Peter Pan flies ahead, with Tinkerbell fluttering nearby, her tiny form glowing like a star. They laugh and beckon you to follow, and soon you're zipping through the air with them, the thrill of flying making your heart race. Neverland appears below you, wild and untamed, with lush jungles, sparkling lagoons, and the shadowy outline of Captain Hook's ship on the horizon. Peter leads you to his hideout, where the Lost Boys welcome you with open arms. You spend the day exploring, laughing, and getting swept up in their endless adventures. There's a freedom here, a boundless energy that makes you feel like you could stay forever, caught in the joy of a place where time doesn't exist. But just as Peter offers you a hand to stay, the stars above begin to blur, the laughter fading. You feel yourself being pulled back, slowly but surely, until you're once again sitting in the cozy armchair in the bookstore. The rain has stopped. The air is still and quiet. The only sound, the soft crackle of the fireplace in the corner. You close your eyes, feeling the weight of your adventures settle over you like a warm blanket. Just for a moment, you allow yourself to rest. The memories of the 100-acre wood, Cinderella's kindness, and the thrill of Neverland still fresh in your mind. When you open your eyes, you're no longer in the bookstore. You're in your own bed, the morning light streaming in through the window. The rain has passed and the world outside is fresh and new. You lie there for a moment, wondering if it was all a dream. But somehow, deep down, you know it wasn't. The magic of the bookstore is real, waiting for you whenever you need it. You smile to yourself, the memory of your journey lingering like a soft whisper. Perhaps one day you'll find that little shop again. Perhaps one day people will understand magic is in the belief. Thank you for listening. This was a Magical Manifestations production by Jenna B. Neece. Please remember to subscribe and review the episode. It means the world to me.